as I get new tools, I'm going to go ahead and review them. This is from Amazon. I needed a new grinder. I'm trying this brand. It was reviewed pretty good. There was a coupon, I think it was $36, and there was a coupon that I got flipping Amazon, so I got it for $30. So we'll try it and see what it does. I usually use DeWalt, but they're kind of expensive, but I get them when I can. One thing I can say, the Harbor Freight angle grinders, for me, if I'm working hard on a weekend, if I'm working a weekend and I work 8 hours a day for Saturday and Sunday, if I get one of the DeWalt angle grinders, they're like $10 when they're on sale, they won't last me through the weekend. The brushes burn up in them, they start getting out of balance, and the bearings wear out, so those aren't any good for me. So I'm trying to find an alternative that's a little cheaper than the DeWalt, but I may just have to go back to the DeWalt. We'll see. It comes with a basic 3/16 quarter-inch flapper, which I don't use. I don't run guards on mine. Maybe not the safest thing, but it does come with one. It looks like it goes on there pretty easy, pretty standard. And my preference also is to have the button either at the top or on the side. It's usually that way. They have some that have the button on the bottom, but to operate it, you have to kind of choke back, and it puts too much weight forward. Ends up hurting my wrist over time, so I don't like those. I like to be up close to the cutting head, so I like my trigger at the top. Usually don't put a handle on them either. The handle. Well, this one actually comes with extra brushes, which is actually really nice. That's something that doesn't come with a DeWalt, not any that I bought recently. Anyway, so that's a plus right there. It also means they might wear really quickly too, though, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. Looks fairly solid. I mean, it's nicer than the Harbor Freight version, as far as the looks of it. All right, now let's get to grinding wheels. Again, these are on Amazon. I've been buying my grinding wheels on Amazon because the cutoff wheel, I think cutoff wheel at Lowe's, the DeWalt brand, I think they're over $4 a piece. These are about 42 cents a piece, so I just can't justify spending $4 when I get them for 42 cents. This brand, I'll have to look it up. I can't read anymore what it is on the screen. This brand, like I say, I'll print it on there on the screen, but this brand I didn't like, and I'll figure it out what it was. But the problem I had with these, some of them, they were inconsistent. Some of them would grind down really quickly, but also for some reason, which I can't figure out, some of them would oval. They would get an oval shape, which I don't understand how they would do that when they're spinning in a circle like that. But I had a lot of them that would oval shape, so they would cause the grinder to vibrate, which is also dangerous. So whatever this brand is, I don't recommend. The brand I had before these was a brand called Lincoln, which is same like the Lincoln Welder. It wasn't associated with Lincoln, but it's a Lincoln brand. Those I had good luck with. They were good. They wore a little faster than the DeWalt XP, but for the price, they were really good. I didn't get those this time. I switched to a different brand this time, so I'm trying a third brand. These were on sale, and they had a good review rating. So I'm going to try this brand. I'll let you know. They come in a nice little case. Kind of nice. Silica. Alright, they're two individually wrapped. This is a 50 pack here, so I guess it's 25 per pack. But this is a new brand I'll be trying for the first time, so I'll let you know how it goes. And these are, I think, 40, I don't know what it is. About a 16th of inch thick is what I use. So we're going to try those. And then also, I've never tried one of these before, so we're going to test it. I've got one of the metal cut-off blades. It's supposed to cut metal. It's supposed to last 5,000 plus cuts. But I don't know. I'm kind of weary, but I'm gonna give it a try and see. So I'll let you know how this goes. I guess I'll try it on the new grinder. Okay, I haven't even plugged this in now, but I haven't started yet. One negative thing I can say, the cord feels a little cheap, and it feels like that's probably going to be where the first problem starts. It'll probably end up breaking right there. It's also the shortest cord that I've ever had on a grinder, so you'll definitely have to use this with an extension cord because it's not very long. It's probably 6 feet. All right, let's see what it sounds like and see how this blade cuts. Trigger trying to slip down. It's cutting and it's not wearing it off, but at the same time I don't like the feel of it maybe. It's maybe because I'm just not used to it. And I guess one thing I like about a cutoff wheel, if I drop it, it's going to break off and it's not going to continue to run. If you drop this thing and it's still running, it's not going to break off, so it's just going to get away from you. It'd be kind of dangerous. I'd rather have the wheel break off in that case if you drop it or something. So I'm not sure that I love it. Wheel. I'm not loving the trigger yet. You can also see the difference in the thickness. The little bird edges more. It's not even really a smooth cut, and it's wider. It's much cleaner, so it may have its place. I may come back to it. For now, I'm just going to stick with what I know. So. Okay, it's been 2 months since I purchased this grinder. It's actually held up really well. I'm actually pretty happy with it overall. It does have some shortcomings. Again, the cord is the biggest problem with it. It is way too short. It works here on my table, but when I take it other places, it's too short. I'll show you compared to the other one here shortly. The other problem I have with this one is where the air comes out. Every tool is different where they vent the air. This one can be a problem, especially with the new goggles I bought, which I'll cover when I get to the goggles. But overall, it's fine, but I don't like where the air comes out of this one, where it vents out. It sometimes is a problem. But as far as value, it's a good value. I think, like I said, I paid about 30 bucks for this, so that was good. It is starting to whine a little bit sometimes, so I don't know if it's a bearing, so I mean, it could die anytime now, so maybe it won't be good. But so far, out of 2 months, using it a lot, every weekend and through the weekdays, it's been a really good grinder. So far I'm happy with it. I would say probably 7 out of 10, probably, if I was going to rank it that way. So now let's move on to the blades. Okay, let's talk about the cutoff wheels that I purchased last time, and these are the ones I've been working with for the last 2 months. These have been the best cutoff wheels I've ever bought. They're as good or better than the DeWalt brand. So, I mean, I can't complain. These last forever, super durable. I've had any breakage These are just a really good cutoff wheel, so I highly recommend these. The brand I was talking about that I bought before, the unnamed brand, it's actually called a Walton, W-A-L-T-O-N. They're not currently available on Amazon, but these would be the worst ones I ever bought. Again, I told you they wear really fast, and for some reason they would oval when they wear, which I don't even know how that would happen. But they were terrible. I would not recommend them again. They're not available, but these could cause someone to get hurt, so I won't be purchasing them anymore. But again, it kind of had before these two was called Lincoln, the same as the Welder, but not associated with Lincoln. They were also really good, really good. They did wear a little bit faster, I would say, than a DeWalt, but not enough to make a difference. But they were really good too. So the Lincoln brand I can recommend, and this brand I highly recommend. The reason I buy these on Amazon is to get 100 of these is basically $46. So these are 46 cents a piece. Compared to a DeWalt, if you buy one of these at DeWalt, the current price at Lowe's is $3.98. So 100 of these is $46. It's almost $400 if you buy a DeWalt. So I can't justify spending that much on the cutoff wheels. So that's why I stick with these. And when you get to flapper wheels, the price is even more of a problem. These are flapper wheels. This is the latest brand I bought. It's Nomon, N-O-E-M-O-N. On Amazon, they're listed as MINCHI 257. These are 85 cents a piece on Amazon. These aren't the best ones I ever bought. But compared to the current flapper wheel price at Lowe's, which is, what is it? $10.98 for one. So I bought 100 of these for $85. If I bought 100 of them at Lowe's, it'd be $1,098. I can't justify that. These particular brand I won't buy again because these do have an issue that I don't like. When they're brand new and you start them, debris will fly off of them. When they're new and when you first touch them, a bunch of debris flies off, which is a problem. Once you get past that initial break-in or touch it and get it going, they seem to be fine, but they wear fast. I'm going to switch back to this brand. They have cutoff or flapper wheels, which are currently 5-star rated on Amazon, so I will be switching to those. But those are $1.40 a piece compared to 85 cents. I don't mind spending $1.40 over 85 cents. I just can't justify $10.98. So once I switch to the flapper wheels, this brand, I'll let you know how that goes. I will say with one of these, even though they were cheaper, I did pay the price. I was working on something and I wasn't grinding any metal. I just had to take some paint off of it, but it was a brand new wheel. And I looked at it and I got debris in my eye. I had to go to the eye doctor. Even with insurance out of pocket, I was about $400 to get the sand, the grit out of my eye. I had to go back twice to get it out because it was embedded so deep. So they did cost me $400. So maybe the DeWalt wouldn't have done that. I don't know, but still, this brand's going to cost me $145 compared to $1,098. So that still balances out even if I have to go to the doctor. So we'll see. I didn't show these earlier. I bought these goggles also on Amazon. They're DeWalt. I've used them the entire weekend, about 8 hours each day on Saturday and Sunday. Not once did they fog up. So they've been the best goggles I've had. Now it's about 65 degrees in my shop, so I didn't sweat, it wasn't hot, so I'm sure in the summertime they would probably fog up. But they breathe really, really good, they fit pretty good, they work, no metal in my eye, so I'm happy. And that's what they are right there. Okay, these are the DeWalt safety glasses I bought. I've used them for 2 months. Overall, they're still the best safety glasses I've ever used. They rarely fog up. Again, it's been cooler in my shop. It's wintertime. I'm sure in the summertime that'll change. They're pretty comfortable. They fit over my glasses, which is nice. They're fairly comfortable. They could be a little wider, but I've got a big head, so that's more on me than it is the glasses. But they have nice big vent spaces, which is kind of nice, but that's also becomes the issue, especially here on the bottom. On the top, the vents are kind of hidden. The glass goes over it. They're kind of further back in it where it vents. On the bottom, the vent's right at the edge of where the glass is, and actually you can see through the vent looking straight down on it. That becomes an issue with the new grinder, only the new grinder, not the DeWalt, because of where the air comes out. For some magical reason, it's like the two engineers or these two people got together, and when I'm using this grinder and this mask, the air blows debris perfectly through those vents. And it's like a snow globe inside here sometimes. So these two things don't go together very well. So maybe DeWalt planned it that way, so you only use a DeWalt grinder, I don't know. But if I'm not using this grinder, cutting something on the table, if I'm working on a car outside of the table or something, it's not as bad. But the angle that I cut and the angles that this is and this vent, it's just the perfect storm of madness. And that I don't like. But overall, they're really good. So it's that one issue that I have with them. But overall, these are good safety glasses. Okay, that's a product review out of the way. The other thing I'm talking about, the other thing I bought off of Amazon are my gloves. Locally, the cheapest place I could find them was about $4 a piece. That's when they're on sale, and I can't always find them. That's at Big Lots. Usually they'll have them, but it's inconsistent when they have them and when they don't. So I get these off of Amazon. I'll put up the link where I get them, which ones I get. These are about $3.49 a piece. So about $3.50, but you have to buy 12 of them. And for some reason, if you buy more, you can buy like 120, but then the price per glove goes up for some reason, which doesn't make sense, but anyway. So that's where I get my gloves. One thing you'll notice on my gloves, and the problem I have with all gloves, these are from 11-10. This glove is 12-1. I go through left-hand gloves like crazy, and I hardly go through the right-hand gloves at all. That's because the grinder, when you grind, all the sparks go into it, and it burns the threads off of it, so they open up. So I always have a surplus of right-hand gloves, so I decided what I was going to start doing with those is I'm going to keep them, and I'm going to start doing little artwork sketches on them, and I'm going to give them away if anybody wants them. So I'm going to do a series. These are kind of just practice ones right now. But this is something to do with the right-hand gloves that I have a surplus of. I wish when you bought gloves, you could buy for every 3 left-handed ones, you get 1 right-hand, and then it would kind of balance out. So if there's a glove manufacturer and you can somehow hide this thread seam, tuck it in, or do something, I think your right-hand gloves would last longer. I just haven't found a glove that doesn't happen to. Even if you buy a more expensive glove, the same thing happens. So I can't justify spending more money on a more expensive glove. It doesn't last any longer, so I just buy the cheapest ones I can find, and they last as long as they last. So, okay, now I'm going to shift my attention to my workspace, the table here and the surrounding areas. And I'm just going to kind of walk through and show you how I have things laid out. It works pretty good for me, so maybe there's something there that would help you be more efficient. I like being as efficient as I can and not lazy. I just like things to be convenient. You just work faster and it keeps you in the flow of things. So for me, it's a much better process. So let me walk you through it. Okay, from the front side of my table, you can see I have my anvil that I keep on the corner there. My TIG rods slide down in between all those. Down here, I have different things. I have clamps. I have a little rod bender, place for hammers. Another hammer made out of the top of a gas bottle. Gene Winfield taught me that trick. My vice clamps in here. This is a motorcycle fender that I just welded on that holds miscellaneous vice grips, kind of the specialty ones. Different types. I don't use all the time, but they're there. I have my strinker and stretcher here. This comes off, this lifts straight up. It's just held in there. It comes up and it goes on the vise. So that's basically what I keep on the front of it. This is my hammer holder. This lifts up so I can take it completely off if I want to carry the hammers around somewhere. But primarily I keep one body hammer on there, even though it's not for body work. It gives me a sharp point and a flat edge. Keep a rubber mallet on there, and then a baby sledgehammer. That's what I keep in that, and that's just my air hose. Alright, let's go around to the other side. This used to be, and it still can be, this will hold grinders, and in my old shop, that's how I kept them. They just kind of drop in like that. So you can keep two of them on here. So that's what that is. Holes are there for screwdrivers, miscellaneous things like that. I'll come back to my new holder for my grinders. Here I welded on a cup on the end. It's just a metal cup, but that obviously keeps scissors, Sharpies, my angle, square, which I use all the time. So from my perspective, this is, I can reach all of this. I always keep a tape measure, the anvil, things within reach. This is for my MIG handle. It goes in there. You can see where I started. That holds that. This is my metal tree, I guess. It's just a piece of metal, 1-inch tubing. Whenever I add a new pen or a pencil, I just take a piece of 3/8 or 1/2-inch tubing and just weld one on there, and I can always just add a pencil. You can see I keep my magnetic thing stuck to it on the front. On the back, I've just welded little rods, and that's where I keep all my flapper wheels, grinding wheels, things like that. Got little hooks welded on it, which holds my template, which I use all the time, probably my most important tool of the shop. At the top, I just put a rod across a 1-inch tube. These are 1-inch by 1/16-inch tubes, which I just weld on, which hold things like scissors. But if you have die grinders and you have your fitting on the end of it, they fit in there perfectly enough to not fall off. So that's how I keep those up there on that. And then I've got on the end where it's open, that was my new tool I accidentally stepped on. I keep these 3-foot screwdrivers in the end of it, which I rarely ever use. This is for metal shaping when I have to hammer on things, dollies, and different things. The teddy bear is brass, so if you don't know, when you're welding on metal, a weld won't stick to brass. So if you got a hole in something, like that's what that was used for. If you have a hole in the metal and you put this behind it, it gives you a solid surface so your wire won't go through, but it also won't stick to the brass. So I use the teddy bear for that. And then also have for rounded areas, I have the brass ball. I have a little thing on the end to hold my cable, which is a mess right now. And you've seen in previous videos, this is a simple little brake that I've made just to bend metal. You can see it's really simple, but it's really efficient. It does a really good job. And that's my vise. So basically when I'm setting down, all of this stuff is within reach. So everything that I need, I can reach from one position at the table. And then I've got a stool that swivels. So when I spin around, this is my grinding station. It's kind of the same that was on the side of the table. It's just an old metal rack that I found. I don't really know what it was for, but it works perfectly for the grinders. So they just clip in there, go in there, and actually I can get 3 of them in there if I have a third one. And this is my die grinder that I keep at the top. So those are always just right there when I need them, when I spin around. The common metal that I use, I keep behind me. So I can just spin around basically. Everything's like right there. Longer tape measures, rulers, straight edges, angle finders, I keep right there. So basically everything I need to mark, grind, and cut is within 360 degrees of where I'm at. On my brake, you can see I keep my clamps, so they're right there, easy to get to. And I have some handheld ones which I use a lot. These These are mostly for wood, so they will melt. You can see they melt. They're not really made for welding and heat, but they work. That's the brake I have. It's a finger brake. I got this at Harbor Freight. There's the item number. This is not something locally they keep in stock. That had to be special ordered. Overall, it's a pretty decent brake, but there's probably better options out there. I do like it. It does work, but it's not the strongest. These fingers will flex a little bit individually. So it's probably out of 10 stars, I'd probably rate this at 6. But it gets the job done, but I do wish I had a little bit better brake. And this is my scrap metal rack. Just pieces usually under 2 feet end up on this. So it's kind of a mess, but I can always find little pieces that I need. And I've got a bucket also that I keep them in. But I try to, even though it looks unorganized, everything's right there. So it's kind of, it's organized within that mess, I guess I'll say. But it works. And little tiny pieces I keep in a bucket down here. Shapes that I can reuse. Like these are some stainless steel round pieces that I cut out. But I have little round washers and things like that that come in handy later that I keep right there. But again, they're right next to the table, so it makes everything nice and efficient. Okay, I told you I'd show you the difference of the cords on these two grinders. This one's at its maximum as far as it'll go right now. And this is the what I'm used to, the DeWalt brand. And other brands have been as long as this one too. So it's going and going and going and going and going and going and still going and going. That is about 4 feet longer. So that's a huge difference when you're working on something. So again, that's the one thing I don't like about that one. I guess side by side too, I guess I can see this one is maybe a little bit smaller. This one is lighter, noticeably lighter than a DeWalt, which is kind of nice. It's easier on your wrist when it's moving, so I do like the lightness of it. But again, in the end, it probably won't last as long. But for now, it's a positive. Okay, while I'm talking about grinders, again, I keep 2 of them because I have a cutoff wheel on this one, and then I keep a flapper on this one. At one point, I had 3, and sometimes I do have 3 grinders. And what I'll do when I do that is I will keep one of my wire wheels on one if I have 3 of them. So if I have 3 working grinders, I'll have 3 of them with 3 different things on them. So sometimes the more things you can have like that, the more efficient you can be. So I will say, while I'm talking about these wire wheels, if you've never used one of these, or the kind that's the horizontal, more the cup shape one, never ever operate these without safety glasses. These are deadly. Maybe not deadly, maybe I'm being over dramatic, but these wires, this one's worn down a little bit. These wires are, when they're new, they're over 1 inch long, probably 1 1/4 inches, and they're wound, so they're even longer. These will break off, and when they break off, they penetrate you at such a high speed you don't even notice it. And I had one that was in my belly once, that went in my belly. It was there for 2 days before I even noticed it. And then it was angled down, so when I like put my clothing on and something, I didn't notice it. I was in the shower and I felt something. I was like, what is that? It felt hard, you know, it almost felt like a tick or something. And then just a little bit was sticking out, about the length of a hair, less than 1/4 inch was sticking out. And again, it had been there for 2 days. When I pulled on it and pulled it out, 3/4 of an inch of that wire was stuck inside of it. So if that was your eyeball, something like that, wouldn't be pretty. So again, never operate these without safety glasses unless, you know, you want problems. Okay, it's a mess right here, but here's my other metal rack that I have. This holds my long tubing. It's on wheels, and it's got a handle on it, and it goes down, so it can roll all over the shop. And it can hold anywhere from 20-foot pieces to 5-foot pieces. And it's got my Baja doors hanging off of it also for now. But the shop's just kind of tight with space right now, so this is just where I have it setting, but that's how I keep my long tubing. Okay, this is kind of my drill station. I do some assembly here, but here I have my drill set up. Just a standard drill press. I do keep at the top, I just drilled holes at the top of these, and I keep my chuck in one side, and then the other side I keep my point maker. And again, I just put a little simple hole in it, and those are always handy right at the top of it. Again, it's a cheap saw, or cheap drill press, but it works fine for me. I do have another one over in the other shop, so I have two of them. I just keep the drill bits next to it. These are the ones I sharpened with the drill doctor again, so I just keep these handy. All of my hole saws there. And then I do have a tubing notcher, but I rarely use it. The other thing I set up on this table is because I was working on the Volkswagens, the buggy on this side, all the way across the shop. On the other side is my toolbox for the other tools, but since the Volkswagens are metric, I went ahead and just set up kind of a metric station here. So this is all just extra metric stuff I have. So basically just for working on the Volkswagens. I have a specialty box that I have some specialty tools. If you're a Volkswagen person, you'll know what some of those tools are inside of there. It's just common tools that you don't need that often, but you need them for a Volkswagen. Okay, one thing I'm excited about this Christmas, I purchased myself several things, but one of the tools that I bought is something new, something I've always wanted, just never bought one for some reason. One of the series I follow on YouTube is the Binder Builder, and Damien, one of his most recent videos, he was working on his new light bar for his Baja, and he was cutting tabs with this tool, and I decided I had to have one because I always use the angle grinder and it works well for me, and I've used it and that's all I like. But after watching him cut these brackets with ease, I decided I had to spend the money, and this is what I bought. Okay, here it is, a Portaband with a Swag table saw conversion. That's the brand there, Swag. And this is sold separately, and this is just from Harbor Freight. They have good reviews, so that's what I got. For the blade, I bought DeWalt blades for them. These were 3 of them for $18 on Amazon. But this is, I can tell, a really nice setup. I've seen other people besides Damien use them. But watching him use them kind of inspired me to go ahead and make the purchase. I did spend the extra money for the foot pedal down there, so I can just hit my foot and turn it on. So I'm really excited to start using this. So next month, or actually in about a week and a half, I'll start using this more. I think this will save me some sparks and probably some health issues. I mean, when you use the cutoff wheels, there's a lot of debris going in the air. I think this will cut a lot of things just as good and a lot cleaner. So I'm really excited to have this as part of the shop. So thank you, Damien, for turning me on to it. And I'll review this as I go too. But okay, the way I set my saw up, I already had a counter right here, which is a little messy, but I work off that. I just added a wooden extension to it and brought it out, and then I screwed the base down to it so it's secure, so it won't go anywhere, but it's easy also to move if I need to. But I have enough room there if I need to put like a long piece of pipe or something. I have room to do it, but it's also small and out of the way. So like I say, I think I'm going to love this. Okay, the last thing I'm going to cover today, if you're new, this is mostly if you're new to this, building things. If you're watching this, a lot of you are experienced, so you know this already. But obviously important tools are like grinders and drill presses and things like that. But before any of that starts, these are, for me, the most important tools in the shop. This is what I start with. I use these tools every day. I use these more than anything else that I use in the shop. When I'm building things, you need a piece of paper. A lot of people use cardboard. I use basically this poster board. These are old posters. Cardboard can be too thick for me. I don't like cardboard itself. It'll work on big things, but this, you can get nice, strong creases, fine lines. You get your holes marked. So I prefer poster board when I work. So I always start with that. And then with that, of course, you need a tape measure, a nice straight edge, which I use all the time. And I use a metal one. That works better. It's good for everything.
I couldn't do any work without one of my circle templates. This one's all melted. I need a new one, but I've used this one for probably 10 or 15 years, so it's time to get a new one. But everything, tabs, anything you make, you end up using this. I use the 45 all the time. Sharpie, you're going to use every single day. Mechanical pencil's good. And this is a metal marking pencil. It's got sort of like a soft wax. This one has silver in it, but they make different colors. These are really good for marking on metal. I do like those. You're always going to need calipers to measure things. Even if you don't go by the measurement, just to, like, a lot of times I'll use it, I won't even look at that, and I'll just transfer it to my ruler. Works fine, it's acceptable, it's fine, but you do need a caliper all the time. And then for bigger circles, I'll use a compass. So again, these are tools that you might not think of when you're building cars, but everything that I do starts with these tools right here. So this will be the first thing. If I were starting new, these would be the first things that I would buy, even though they don't seem car related. They're the most important things you need. So, but I'll stop there with this video. I'll be shooting the next video probably later in the week or early next week. With that video, I'll be going over my plans for the engine for the dune buggy, the transaxle for the dune buggy, and for the Baja. I have a plan for the Baja. Now, that was one of the big holdups, is I was trying to save money for the transmission for the Baja, which I've done, but also I didn't know what transmission I'm going to use. I'm not 100% decided, but I'll go over that next video, and that's what we'll work on. So hopefully, come January, February, March, we'll be working on the Baja again. I know a lot of people probably tuned into this channel to see the Baja, and I've been working on the buggy, but again, I was stuck at the point. That's why I had to save money. But I will be moving forward on that. That is coming next, and the buggy's getting to the point where hopefully I'll finish up the last few things with it. I've got to weld some tabs, different things like that. Basically, hopefully that gets torn apart, painted, and assembled and put back together, and then the next videos on that, after we get it together, will be out in the field, so you can see it out in the trails doing things, and I can drive that while I'm not working on the Baja. But the Baja is coming. Haven't forgot about it. It's on my mind every day, and we will be moving forward with it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.